Today we're going to be doing a 3,000 hour service on this loader, and I'm going to show you guys around and how to change everything we have to at a 3,000 hour service. That includes engine oil, engine filter, fuel water separator, inline fuel filter, air filters, cabin filters, hydraulic filters, transmission. We're going to drain the transmission fluid and change the transmission filter, and we're going to grease the machine and check all the fluids and top it off. And I'm going to bring you guys with me and show you guys how to do all that. So let's get to it. I'm going to show you guys very quick where all the filters are. Right up here you have the 2 air filters. Here you got the fuel filter, fuel water separator, engine filter, and right there you have the inline fuel filter. And then the cabin air filter is going to be in here. There's 2 of them. We're going to do that through the inside, and then we come around to this other side and we're going to see the transmission filter, which is an element right there. And then the hydraulic filter is going to be right there. So that's what we're going to be changing today. This is all the filters that we're going to be changing. I will post on the description the type of filter and the serial number for them if you're going to do it yourself. But right over here we have the air filters, cabin air filters, transmission, fuel water separator, fuel filter, inline fuel filter, hydraulic filter, and engine filter. And then so all the samples that I'm going to have to get from the fluids of the machine. So let's get to it. So to drain the engine oil, we're going to come on this side right here, and if you see if I can zoom in, you see that valve right there with that hose. That's the valve we're gonna empty the oil from. So we're gonna get a hammer and we're gonna tap right on top of it, because normally it's pretty hard. We'll tap it and then we start turning it, and it's just gonna, we're gonna put a bucket down here and it's gonna come out of that black hose, and it should be less than 20 quarts. So just a regular 5-gallon bucket will work. All right, so we got the engine oil draining in that 5-gallon bucket. All I did was turn that valve all the way out and it just started draining. I got my sample, and for it to flow easier, just open the filler cap up and it'll just empty easier. Then once that drains, we're going to change the engine oil filter. Right now, to get the engine oil filter out, we're going to be using one of these oil filter wrenches. You could get this at Harbor Freight, AutoZone, any auto parts store. And we just loosen up. It's already loose. Then we take it out and we put the new one back in, and then we fill up with oil. So while the engine oil drains, I'm going to change this air filter. And all we're going to do, you're going to have these tabs right here. There should be 4 of them. Just flip them. Well, this probably have a bunch of sand now. There's going to be 4 of them. Oh, 1 on each corner. And see if I can fast forward this. Oh, I guess it's only 3. Then you just push it out. Be careful with all the sand, because it will have a lot. This is your air filter. Let's see if I can pull it out. All right, we just pull it out. All that dust, and then this is the inner air filter. Now we put the new ones in. There goes one, and here goes the other one. Make sure it's good in there. Then we put the cover back on, and when we clip it back in, that's how you change your air filters. We got the old engine oil filter out, and this is the new one right here, which I'm just dabbing it in oil so it's not stuck whenever we do take it out next time. And all we do, we just screw it in. Sometimes it'll be harder to find, but screw it in, and all you do is tie it by hand. You can give it a couple good turns. You know, once you feel it tight, give it a little bit more. That's it. And that's how you change your engine oil filter The fluid is still draining. We're gonna let that drain, and once that drains completely, we're gonna close the valve. This valve again, we're just gonna turn it all the way, and then we're gonna tap it with the hammer, and that's it. And then we put 12 quarts, not 12. Let me make sure. We're gonna be adding 20 quarts of engine oil, 15W40. Once that drains, we'll close the valve and we start adding oil. Okay, this is how you change your fuel water separator and fuel filter. So once we loosen it up with the wrench, the same wrench we use for filters, we just go in there, loosen it this way. Same with this one, loosen it up. So once you loosen it, be careful because there's fuel in here, and this thing has a plug you got to unplug. You can either drain it from here. Both of them have the same thing, which all you do is you twist it to the left and pull it down, and the fuel's gonna start coming out. And no worries, this one does not have a shut off fuel valve, so make sure yours doesn't, and if it does, shut it off. And the way I do it is I unscrew all of it, and while I'm screwing, I put my fingertip down here, because if not, all the fuel is just gonna go, it's gonna empty out of it. So you could either drain it first and then take it out, or you could take it out, hold it, and then put it in like a bucket or something like that. I'm gonna try to show you guys, see if the way I do it. Okay, so I got the fuel water separator and the fuel filter here, just to have it by my side so it's a lot easier. And we're gonna unscrew this fuel one, like I said, the finger in the bottom. It might spill a little bit, so you might want to put like some pads or something. See, it's right here. See, this one didn't, it's not dripping too much from the bottom. And all you want to do now to take off the element, you're gonna hold this bottom part that I showed you guys, hold it and twist the filter inside. Just twist it off and it comes out. See? And the same thing with the other one. You know, unscrew it, hold the bottom so all the fluid doesn't come out, and only a little bit will, so like I said, put a pad. And the same thing, hold the bottom part and unscrew it like that. That's how you do it. And now you get the new one, put it in, hold the bottom part again, this, and just screw it in. And then you do the same thing, putting it back on. And no, you don't have to fill this up with fuel, because this one will pump it by itself. But some machines will require you to, let me clean this, will require you to fill it with fuel before. Cleaning this because I put it in there and it had engine oil fluid. Using brake cleaner. Nice and clean. And we do the same thing. Put the filter in, hold the bottom, and screw it in. And then we put it back in. Now, I hand tighten this, but then we're gonna tighten with a wrench again to make sure it's nice and tight. We just tie it with this. We do the same for this one. And then once you do that, you're gonna plug these two back together, because this is what it's gonna tell it to fill it. And that's how you change a fuel water separator and fuel filter on a 930. So as you can see, engine is about done draining the engine oil. So we're gonna come here, and you're not gonna be able to see it, but we're just twisting this back on, and then we're gonna add some fluids. So we're gonna put 20 quarts of 15W40. Let me show you guys the one we use. This is our engine, 15W40. You don't need a specific Caterpillar engine oil. You can just go to the store and get whichever you want. So we're gonna add 20 quarts. I'm gonna add 18 first, check it, and then if it needs more, I add the whole 20. So next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna change the hydraulic filter. But before that, we're gonna come up here to the machine and make sure that you release the pressure off the tank. And if you have one of these locks on it, just go inside, get your cat key to unlock it. So now that this is off, let's go remove the filter. So just like we did with the rest, we're gonna use the wrench and we're gonna loosen it up. And just so you know, it is gonna leak a little bit of hydraulic fluid. So if you don't want to get anything anywhere, put towels or pads or what you can in there. So all we do, we just remove it. Once you let the air pressure out, we put the new one in. If you come under the machine here, you're gonna see this plate. It has 2 bolts on it right in the middle. That's gonna be a 9/16. So we're gonna remove this, which I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna loosen that one over there a little bit and then remove this one, and I'm just gonna swing this around so we could expose the valve to remove the fluid for the transmission. Okay, so once you remove this plate, there's gonna be probably a bunch of dirt and sand, so make sure you're not right under it. So, and once you got everything clear, you're gonna have a 22 millimeter right there towards the back, looking towards the back, and that's where the fluid is gonna come out. But before we do this, we're gonna make sure there's no air in the system, and then we're gonna put like a container, probably 2 buckets maybe. I don't know right now how much it's in it, but I'm gonna have 2 buckets ready. So transmission fluid is draining. It's only gonna take a bucket, less than a 5-gallon bucket. Then I open this thing up. Now we're gonna change the filter, and it's an element. So we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna use a bigger wrench just because it might be harder, or we'll see. We'll take it out, take off the element, and put that one on. All right, so we took that filter out. There's the old element filter, there's the new one. And I just want to show you guys how you take it off. There's like 2 lips across from each other, and all you do is you squeeze it and then it comes out. And then when you put the new one on, you just push it in or squeeze it in, and then these have 2 gaskets. If you have some, change it. If they look okay, you can leave them, but I always change them. And then all we do is we screw it back on. And I confused the filters. This is the hydraulic filter. The other one in there was a transmission. So my fault, my mistake.